Hello beautiful people, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a video on if it is worth it or not to be in a military relationship. Now if you clicked on this video and you wanted to know a straight yes or no answer, that's definitely not going to be the case, sadly, with this video. I personally feel like every military relationship is different, and so to give her yes or no just isn't accurate, but I do want to give you my personal opinions, my personal experience, some pros and cons, and hopefully that will give you the opportunity to make the decision for yourself. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video today. If you guys are new to my channel, thank you for clicking on this video. I'm Brittany and my husband is Connor, and as you may have figured out already, he is in the military, and usually he's in these videos, but right now he's not here, and so it is just me today. So before I get started, I'm going to give you a little background on this channel, and you guys who've been following me for a while, you probably know a lot of this stuff already, but I'm going to give you a little background information just so you know the foundation of what I believe and what my personal beliefs are. Also, I wanted to mention that if you clicked on this video, you most likely are going through the struggle, obviously, with is it worth it to date someone in the military? And I don't want you to feel like you're alone, because we've all been there questioning if it's worth it or not. And so you came to the right place. I hope that this video again will help you to decipher what you should do. So anyways, let's get started with this video. All right, so again, like I mentioned, a lot of you guys, if you are subscribed to my channel, first of all, thank you and I love you. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. But if you've subscribed to this channel, you have already heard some of this stuff, but I'm just gonna go ahead and mention it for anybody who is new. So me and my husband have been together for about 7.5 right now. He has been enlisted in the military for 5.5 years, and his contract is for 6. And we have been married for almost 4 years in May. So we've been together for quite a while. I've been in this military journey for quite a while, and so I've had a few years to think over if it's worth it or not. Also, I did want to do a little kind of disclaimer over this is my personal opinion. Again, not everybody is going to feel this way, and I totally understand. If you feel totally different from my opinion or you have some other thoughts, I always welcome thoughts and opinions in my comments. However, I would ask that you would refrain from being rude or anything like that, because that doesn't help anyone decide if it's worth it or not. So, but if you do have any other opinions or comments, you can definitely leave them down below for others to see. Okay, so to start from the beginning, as a lot of you guys know, I became a official MILSO, a military significant other, in college in 2013. Connor decided to join the military in 2013, but we were actually broken up for a little bit, and after he finished boot camp, he asked me to be his girlfriend again because we were still so in love, and I said yes. Now at this time, I had no idea what a MILSO was. I talked about that in another video, and I can link all videos that I mentioned in the cards. At this time, I had no idea what it meant to be in a military relationship. Most of my family was military, but I didn't grow up around it whatsoever. And so when he asked me to be his girlfriend, I didn't know that there was the tag of military girlfriend or MILSO. And so my head was never like, is this going to be worth it? I was already in love with him at this time. And I know a lot of you guys, when you approach me with these questions, it's more so of a, I don't know this guy, I just met him and he asked me to be his girlfriend and he's in the military. Is it worth it to do that? Which I will talk about more with pros and cons later. But for my personal story, I already loved him once he was in the military. And so it was kind of like I had no thoughts over if it was worth it or not, because to me, to however old I was, 19-year-old Brittany was like, I love him, it's totally worth it. I'm so in love. And so I just like jumped in onto being a military girlfriend, and then which led to my YouTube channel and stuff like that. So it wasn't really until the year of 2015 we got married. 2016 I finished college, left my friends and family to move with him to San Diego. Now the first week that I went to go live with him, he left because he had to go train and he had to go underway, which is, if you don't know, is just a Navy term, to go underway. So he left me, and of course before marriage, you're all like lovey-dovey and you're like, I love him, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then you actually get married and you live with them and they leave you and you're like, what? Now I have to live by myself in a new state? What? And you like start to freak out and everything. And so that's really when this idea of is it worth it or not like started to settle in, because I got so much anxiety from, like, again, being away from friends and family, living in a new state. We lived in a really sketchy apartment, but still at the same time, like, I was married to the person that I loved, and so I still internally believed that this is worth it because I love him. However, it was like really difficult for me because I was all alone. I didn't have anybody. And so I wanted to mention that because, again, I did think it was worth it. But for someone who maybe is going through that stage of, I just met this guy, is it going to be worth it? And, you know, stuff like that. That is what I had to experience, where when he asked me to be his girlfriend, after that whole year, I only saw him 3 times. In 2015, I only saw him once when he was coming to propose to me, and then the second time when I went to go visit him in San Diego, and then I think for Thanksgiving we saw each other, and that's it. And then 2016, didn't see him until New Year's Day in 2016, and then a few days before our wedding, our ceremony wedding, and then I went to live with him. And so probably like a total of 3, 6, 9 times in like 3 years did I see him. But again, we did have Skype, we did have FaceTime and stuff like that. So that's why I mentioned a little bit of that, just to give you some reference. So now I want to go into a little bit of the pros and cons to give you just that foundation of our story. So the first pro in this video, I do have another video that is pros and cons of being a military wife, which again, I will link. But just as a pro of if it's worth it, one of the biggest things that I think in a pro is the travel. And there are so many opportunities just within the United States that I have gone to that I never thought that I would go to. I came from a small town in Texas, and I honestly thought that I would never live outside of Texas. Like, that was just a reality of my life. And to be able to live in San Diego, to travel up the West Coast, to now live in Everett, Washington, is mind-blowing to me, because I've got to experience so many different cultures, so many different people. I have branched out in crazy ways of understanding different political views even. Like, coming from a town who was very conservative, I had my views, I was set in my views, but to be able to experience that and actually live in that culture instead of just visit was super eye-opening to me. And so I personally think that that's an amazing pro, to get to be able to travel for free, because the military, when you move, pays for everything for you to move, which is crazy. And then they also pay for your housing, and so you get that opportunity to get free travel, free housing with the military. And I know a couple of spouses who travel overseas, and so they get to live overseas, which is, again, amazing. I think it's personally amazing to be able to do that, especially because this generation is all about travel. And so to be able to do that for free, like, that's goals. Like, that's totally goals, you guys. So I personally think that that is #1 worth it on my list. The next one that I would mention is the friendship. And I've heard a lot of stories where they're like, is it worth it? I have to leave my friends and family if I want to be with this guy and travel with this guy. And I understand that that's hard. However, on the pro, like, I've gotten to develop such amazing friendships that I never would have if Connor didn't join the military. And even if it's like, I had a mentor who was a military wife who's moved across to the East Coast, and just even knowing her for maybe a year has been such a blessing to me, because she has poured so much knowledge as a military wife into me. And I feel like, again, like, I have grown so much wisdom because of her, and I've grown as a believer because of friends that I have at my church and how they've poured into me, and all of these things that I feel like, yes, they could have happened in my hometown, but God allowed me to travel. He allowed me to have different friendships and different viewpoints that I never would have had. And to me, that's a huge blessing. And I will always have these friendships. Even if I move back to Texas, I'll know people from different states, and not just via social media, you know, just like up close and personal, and knowing their lives and how they connect with my life. So I just think that's a really cool pro. Another one, if you guys have been following along in our journey, it's the opportunity to buy a house. We would have never been able to buy a house at the age of 20. How old were we? At the age of, I was 24, Connor was 23, but we'll just say 24 if we weren't in the military. And now we have a beautiful home in Washington. And honestly, that is just such a huge blessing to be able to do that and establish a family, establish roots in a place that we can call our home. So that's another pro that I would say. So another one that I would mention that you guys totally know about me, that I've said multiple times, is my dependence on God. Again, you can do this when you are not in a military relationship. relationship and you spend your entire life in the same place. But I feel like my dependence on God has grown a lot because I have to trust each place he takes us. I have to trust every single step within a military lifestyle, and I have to trust him when my husband is gone. I have to trust my husband in his hands. I have to trust him with my anxiety. I have to trust him in so many areas of my life and really depend on God through this like unstable lifestyle. And so just growing in my relationship has been such a blessing to me because I, again, like a lot of us, struggle with anxiety. I struggle with trusting people. I struggle with loneliness, and all of these things I struggle with. And through the military lifestyle, through my dependence on God, I've grown in so many different ways. And to me, that's like a huge pro. So that's another one. All right, so another one is you mature quickly. Now this one, I feel like if you're watching this video, you're like, who cares, Brittany? Like, who cares about maturing quickly? And it's really not like a huge deal if you don't mature quickly, but I like love being so mature for my age. Like, I know so many people who are like, how old are you? 24? You don't act 24. And I'm like, thank you, because I feel like in this generation, people don't take you seriously when you're in your 20s. And we, as a generation of millennials, like, it's hard to be in this generation because everybody thinks you're immature. And so to be able to mature quickly and to have different political views and to be understanding of political views because you've been in different cultures and traveled, to be able to buy your own home and to have like all of this wisdom, to me personally is a pro. So it's like, if you want to be on the fast track of maturity, you will be in a military relationship. Let me just tell you, a healthy military relationship, I should say, because there's some that are not healthy that do not make you mature quickly. But anyways, different subject. So the last pro that is honestly one of my favorites is the appreciation of love. Now, when you're in a civilian marriage, and this doesn't always happen, but a majority of civilian marriages this happens, your relation tends to become like stagnant in a way where you go through routines every single day. You wake up, you get home, you go to sleep, and you don't really appreciate the time that you have together. When you're in a military relationship, you have lots of homecomings. They leave, which is really sad, and then they come back and you're like, I want to spend all the time in the world with you because I haven't spent any time with you. And then you absorb all of that, and because you know that they're gonna leave again. And so there's this like constant affection and love and appreciation of time together. And that's one thing that I absolutely love, because Connor and I really have intentional heart-to-heart time when he's gone and when he's home. And we never forget that beautiful time that we get to have together, because when he leaves, we don't know if he's gonna come home, and praying that he does, but always getting to appreciate that time together. And the excitement that you get when they return is just a beautiful moment that you don't get to experience in any other relationship or any other marriage. And so I think that that's a beautiful pro that we get to experience. So now to go to the cons. The first one is the con of that appreciation, and that is that your significant other is gone a lot, and that's just a reality. Kind of laughing a little bit, not really laughing, crying / laughing at a thought that I had the other day, where the first year of marriage, Connor and I were separated because of college. Second year of marriage, he was gone on a lot of trainings. Half of the year I was still in college, second half trainings. Third year, training, a month home, deployment. Fourth year, which is this year, finished in May, is the most time we've actually ever had together. He hasn't gone on a lot of trainings. He's been gone a few weeks out of the year for underways, but longest he's been gone is a month. And it's been weird having him home because he's home a lot, which is awesome, but that's the longest we've been together and that we've gotten really to establish our marriage. So in 4 years, almost 4 years of being married, we're starting to figure out life again because he's been home. So that's definitely a con, that they are gone a lot, and in 4 years we're just starting to know what it's like to be married. But again, flip side pro, you always get that redefinition of what love looks like and stuff like that, but they're always gone. So is it worth it? So one of the next cons is that they miss a lot of events and memories. And I know what you're thinking right now, okay? You're probably like, Brittany, this one I cannot do. They have to be here for memories. Like, memories and events are super important to me. My birthday is super important to me. I can't be with someone who's gonna miss my birthday. And let me tell you right now, sister friend or brother friend, whoever you are, I am that person. I am that person who loves my birthday, loves events. My mom was a school teacher growing up. She's now a principal, but she was one of those people that every single day that was a holiday on the calendar, she celebrated hardcore. She still sends me Valentine's Day presents. I'm 24 and married. She still sends me them. So now as an adult, I love events. Like, I hardcore celebrate my birthday. My mom, again, she told me happy birthday the month before my birthday. She would say, it's almost your birthday. It's almost your birthday. Ah! Now it makes me a month before my birthday freak out, and it's not even close to my birthday. And so for my husband to miss my birthday, he did last year and he's most likely going to this year. It breaks my heart. I want him to be home for my birthday and I want him to celebrate that. However, to me, all of the things that make up a military relationship, I feel are totally worth it. Because 1, he's totally worth it. 2, we have this beautiful home. 3, I got to travel and friends and stuff like that. However, he's gonna miss my birthday and it really hurts me. But again, is that worth it to you? It just depends. Another one that is a con is loneliness, anxiety, depression, so many other things that you may experience. And one of the things that I say about this con, and I don't want to debunk each con because they are truly cons, but just want to again give you my personal thoughts on these, is you're going to experience loneliness, anxiety, depression, any of those things. If you struggle with those, you're not going to experience all of them, but if you struggle with those, you're going to experience those whether or not you're in a military relationship. You're going to experience loneliness because God created us for relationship. And so when we're not in relationship, we experience loneliness. However, God uses loneliness, and I've talked about this many times, he uses loneliness to grow us in our dependence with him, in our relationship with him. So it's one of those things where, like, if you're not in a military relationship, sure, you can experience those. But for me, because I'm in those and I've had to experience loneliness like to the max, I've had to experience anxiety to the max, that's allowed me to actively pursue healing in those areas of my life. And God has healed me in so many areas to where I'm not struggling with those to the max. You know, I get to depend on him. And so there's, yes, that con that you will experience those, but there's also a beautiful side to it where God turned ashes into beauty and is using those for his purpose to heal people and heal their hearts. So anyways, don't want to debunk them. I'm just, again, giving you a personal opinion of mine that you will experience those either way, but it's how you deal with them. So the next con is, yes, you do have to leave your family and friends. I mentioned that kind of in the pro. However, there's a flip side. I won't debunk it because I'm debunking them all. But is it worth it to you that you have to leave your family and friends? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And the last one, which is kind of with the first one, is you will experience heartbreak, and that is with them having to leave. Also some heartbreak that you will experience that I've never experienced, but I've had people tell me they've experienced this, is their military guy turned out to be a jerk or your relationship didn't work out. And so is it worth it to you to go and live with them and then possibly getting a divorce or possibly getting your heart broken and having to move back with your family? One of the things that me and Connor had was we knew we loved each other before the military, and we were together for a year and a half before we even got married. And so you have to decide, is it worth it to jump right in, or are you going to endure the long distance relationship so that you can get to know them and have a solid foundation? You have to decide, are you willing to wait and do the long distance, or are you just gonna jump in? Or is all of that just not worth it to you? Because you could have someone who's there and you don't have to do long distance. And so that's another con that you can definitely experience heartbreak within military relationships. So that's basically it for the pros and cons. As you can probably tell, I think that it is completely worth it because Connor, like I said, Connor and I loved each other before the military, and I don't know what Connor would be doing right now if he wasn't in the military. Connor didn't know what he wanted to do after high school. He was very much like, he didn't go to college and he just didn't know what he wanted to do in life. And so the military was an opportunity for him to learn and grow, and now he can have an amazing job. He's only been in for 6 years, and he can have an amazing job doing something in the civilian world if he wants to. And I also work, and so I've been able to learn from companies in Texas. I've been able to work for an amazing company in California, and now I get to work for my church doing the thing that I love, video production and social media. And again, I would never have gotten to do that if I was in Texas. I maybe would have worked at a social media place in Texas, but never did I think I would work in ministry, and now I am. And so I personally believe that God opens so many doors for us when we listen to his will for our life. However, we are getting out at the 6-year mark because I don't think that 20 years to me is worth it. Now, there are some military wives who will tell you 20 years, totally worth it. Like, totally worth it, because now we get retirement, we get benefits, we get all these things. Because, you know, even if they were going through the struggle those 20 years, they look back now and say, that was totally worth it. For me, I can look at 6 years and think totally worth it, can't do 20 years. You might be thinking, Brittany, I can't do any of that, so I'm not going to be in a military relationship. You may be thinking, I can only do 4 years. I can only do 6 years. I could do 20 years. But it all depends on your situation. And every single person in the military has a different job, has a different rate, has a different branch. And so you don't know how long they're going to be gone. You don't know what their schedule is going to look like. And so it all is different. And so I don't want to give you a solid answer of, is it worth it or not worth it? Because I don't know your situation. But I can tell you from personal experience to just listen to God's will for your life, because he ultimately is going to guide you into the right decision, the right path that he wants for your life. And if that means going through 4 years of military so that he can grow you into the person he wants you to become and to give you experiences, then I say go for it. Don't be scared. But if that's not his will for your life, if he's leading you somewhere else and not leading you into that relationship, then pursue something else. Focus on yourself and not a guy and or a girl if you're a guy watching this video. So yeah, I hope this video helps some, if not a lot, of my own personal experience and things that I've gone through. And again, everybody's walk is different. And I personally, again, think looking back now that we're about to get out, that the 6 years is totally worth it. But again, cannot do more than that. Don't want to do more than that, because yes, I will validate your feelings. It is hard to be in a military relationship. It is so hard. And honestly, if we were in for 20 years, God would lead us to so many different probably states, maybe even overseas, and that's would be amazing to me. However, we feel like God is leading us out of the military for so many different reasons, and so really you just have to listen to God and listen to what his will is for your life. So hopefully, again, look like I was dabbing, that was helpful. Again, leave comments, your personal experience. I really encourage different opinions down in the comments, and if you see a comment that you feel like you can help somebody, definitely comment and chat with people and just be helpful to one another during this time, because I totally, again, understand that sometimes you don't know, is it worth it for you? But anyways, I'm gonna stop talking and stop rambling, because that's what I'm going to do. So love you guys. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribe to this channel if you have not, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.